looks like he's a puppet.
Okay. Our
Looks
DM
like
is
he's giving
dead.
a hug.
Am I back?
It's
All
a
right, Beck,
hug.
you're up. You're up, Beck.
Yeah, Beck is the DM. What are you
Am I
doing?
back?
They got
Am I
him. They got him. They got
Hello,
him. They got our
everyone.
DM.
20 inspiration.
20 of them. Holy shit.
Yeah, and we defeat
Reroll.
everything. And we're amazing.
That's
how it
good.
goes.
Everyone's
I like
level
it.
That was
20.
fun. That was fun. I like
Yeah,
it.
actually, that was pretty good, yeah.
Am I
Yeah,
back?
and we kill those skelly guys. Yeah.
We deserve
Go
that.
from level 2 to level 10.
Yeah.
Oh, and
there.
Beck, maybe do you want...
Uh-oh. I'm having a... Ah. Yes. I'm trying to come back. Fuck.
And they're like, okay, Beck, it's up to you now. I'm like, 20 inspiration for everyone.
I could hear you guys, but I couldn't see what was going on,
I gave
and
everyone
everything's
20 inspiration. We
fucked.
killed the skellies, and
I
Matt gets
I
to
heard.
carry
I heard.
Just why?
Fucking go apologize for me. And tell Matt to hold the best moment of suspense ever.
As well. Skeletons, vampires, and zombies. All undead.
Am I back? Am I back? Am I back?
Hey,
We
he's
all
back.
have 20
You're just saying
inspiration.
that we
Yeah,
all
Actually,
get
I see your
Yeah,
front.
sorry, Luke.
a million hit points.
Yeah,
We're all
20
level
inspiration,
20
a
now.
million.
And we're
Yeah.
all level 20.
And you agreed to this.
Okay. I'm glad I agreed to this.
Yeah, also we all won. We all
Okay.
won everything. Kelvin married the horse.
Everyone won D&D.
We won.
Congratulations, players.
Alright.
Yeah.
But what if it had happened differently? Maybe we should go back in time to
Yeah,
what
that'd
if we
be crazy,
didn't?
right? Like, imagine
Yeah.
what would have happened if I found out what Matt's dexterity saving throw was.
My dexterity saving throw.
Ooh.
It's like he's a puppet.
Okay. Our
Looks like
DM
he's
is
giving
dead.
a hug.
Am I back?
It's
All
a
right, Beck,
hug.
you're up.
Just
You're
the
up, Beck.
save or with a roll.
Yeah, Beck is the DM. What are you
Am I
doing?
back?
They got
Am I
him. They got him. They
working?
got him.
This will be your saving throw.
Got to roll too, don't you? You
Oh,
roll
Yep,
and
so
add
you'll
your
roll,
saving
you'll
throw
roll
modifier.
a d20 and then let me know your dexterity saving throw.
Hold on, that surface isn't working. Let me go to the floor. That's a 6 plus 1.
A 6,
Dear
so a
God.
7 total. Okay,
See you later.
Matt.
Yeah.
Magnus is kind of looking into the area and he doesn't really see much. You're looking through and kind of extending your hands quite far, just
Yeah.
looking into this room. You're making an area of about pretty much, say, 5 feet beyond your view.
Yep.
And you kind of just begin to see something. You're looking and you see that there's a bit of reflection of the light. And just as you notice the hollow eyes that make up the skull of this creature, another glitbone skeleton comes forth and slashes at you with a battle axe. And you take 6 damage as the battle axe kind of sinks into one of your arms and has you almost pinned on the inside of the stonework at the moment. You've got your arms through. There's like a battle axe holding you on this side of the
Say, stand back.
on this side of the stained glass windows, and you currently, I'd say currently you're stuck.
Okay.
So at this point, everyone go ahead and roll initiative.
Rolling initiative.
15.
18.
That's with the D20, right?
10.
Yep. So Davos, that was 8. Yeah, so Falco, roll a d20 and then add your initiative modifier, which should be in the middle of the sheet at the top.
14
I
for
got
me.
10 total.
I also got 10.
14, 18, 10 total. And for Belle is going to roll a 6. Sorry, Belle. Okay, so as this occurs, Ko, you see the first thing to happen is Magnus's legs kind of buckle a little, and he's just like, oh God! And you see that he's almost like pulled in towards the window frame a little. And
Wait, this is from outside.
you can see that he's like pulled in towards the building a bit, and he lets out like a bit of a grunt as this battle axe comes down and hits from the inside of the building, hitting one of his arms. You're not sure what's going on.
It comes through the window?
No, so he's got his arms through the window at the moment. Like the glass has been removed, and he's kind of like reaching through the stained glass framework, and it's hit on the inside of that. So on the opposite side of the window, there is an axe that's embedded in his arm.
I guess I'm gonna try get his arm back.
Sure. So you go ahead, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna like walk up to him and try and like pull him back, or are you gonna try and like
I'm gonna
throw something
try
through the window?
his arm free or pull the axe free, whichever's easiest, and then I've got a healing kit with me.
Okay, so what you'd be able to do is probably try and pull him back to begin with, and go ahead and roll a strength check for me as you grab Magnus kind of around the chest and begin to tug him backwards. Just let me know what your strength check
14.
is. A 14? Okay, so that is going to be enough. You manage to pull him backwards, and you see that the axe looks fairly similar to the one that you saw on the battlefield behind you. You manage to like remove the axe from his arm and pull him backwards, and you get him away from the building. But you're
I'm like, are you okay?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Can I heal him, or do I have to wait for my turn?
Big
think-
I've
giant
also got a
skeleton.
healing kit
Gotta
if
wait,
you
son.
go in there.
Yeah, but like I've got to
What
like
was
Well,
that?
so don't
Sorry.
waste your turn, and I can go in there. I can do that because you got the magic stuff. I don't have magic.
Okay, Ko,
Yeah, but you don't want to use up a potion.
that was
I don't have
your-
potions.
Yep, that was your first action. You have a bonus action and probably a little bit of movement if you want to get away or move towards the window.
I squat under the windowsill and I start looking at Matt's arm to try to fix him.
Okay, so you kind of are between Magnus and the building now, and you squat down. You're just about to start using the healing kit, but that's going to take an action. So at this point, Thorax, you can see as Magnus gets pulled back, you see the glint of an axe and the golden hands that are the golden, I suppose, bones that are like grasping around the handle as it kind of comes towards the windows. What do you do?
I have several ideas, but they all suck.
Okay, choose the least suckiest.
I cast Fairy Fire into
Okay.
the building.
Yep.
Each
Genius.
object in it. Each object in a 20-foot cube within range is outlined in blue, green, or violet. My choice. I choose beige. Any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light if it fails a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Anyone affected sheds a dim light, and is also anyone who attacks it gets advantage.
Cool. Okay. So you look through the window, and it's just at the edge of your vision, but I suppose you're aiming for like the center of the room, or are you trying to center it on this creature?
Probably like just inside the window. So I'm not gonna lie, I might accidentally hit you guys.
Yeah. So I
It
think
doesn't hurt us though.
does it just say any creature within a 20-foot cube?
I believe.
Yeah,
it
it's
does.
any creature.
Any creature. Okay. So at this point in time, I'm gonna go ahead and get Bell, Magnus, I'd say Syl and Davos, to go ahead and make dexterity saving throws.
Okay, 20 total.
Okay.
11 total.
Nat 20.
Okay.
Jesus.
So
That's why.
Ko.
So you didn't tell me to roll.
Oh, I thought I did. Sorry.
It was a what throw?
Dexterity saving throw.
23.
23. Okay. So what's your spell DC, Thorax?
Is it my spellcasting modifier?
It should be your proficiency bonus plus your modifier plus 8.
Annoyingly, I don't have a spellcasting proficiency.
So
Like I just don't see it in the list.
No. So you just use your usual proficiency modifier. So I think it's a 2
think it's
at the moment for you
wisdom.
guys. And
Yes, yeah. So
wisdom is for druids.
2 plus charisma plus 8 is 12.
Okay, so you're not using wisdom as your casting because you're a druid?
Oh, sorry. If it's wisdom, still 2 though.
Okay, so 12 total. So at this point in time,
It's me.
yeah,
I got 11.
You see Syl just sort of covered in these beige, like blinking lights. This kind
And I
of
like it.
almost muted glow that's coming off of his body at like a whole heap of random places where you've like sort of thrown this glitter bomb just inside of the window frame. And also you see that there are 4 creatures within the inside of this area that are casting like a bit of a beige light. It looks really strange though, because the magical darkness that is sort of enveloping this room still persists. And so it looks as though they're walking through nothingness. And you see that 2 or 3 of them are now just turning heads and beginning to walk towards the window frames. But the one that is immediately inside of the window frame is lit by fairy fire.
I take this opportunity to go, huh, and then end my turn.
Nice. Cool. So that brings it to Magnus.
Okay, Magnus is quite angry.
Fair. Fair.
Magnus is going to take his uninjured hand.
Yep.
He's going to level an Eldritch Blast right at the skeleton's head that hit him.
Very nice.
And he's going to, as he fires it, say, "May the Archfey take you."
Nice. And you get advantage on this attack because it is currently shrouded in fairy fire.
Okay. Okay, so that is 3.
What was that, sorry?
Did he say
23.
83? Oh,
23.
20.
93.
I heard 83. Yeah,
Yep, so
Jesus.
that certainly hits the one that's inside of the window frame. So go ahead and let me know what the damage is for that guy.
Okay, 13.
13. I think. Let me just double check something here. That's exactly enough to kill the creature. So you just blast this thing through the window frame, and you see the fairy fire kind of illuminating the gold dust that the bones kind of are evaporated by, and this blast kind of just pushes it back in this cloud of light. And for the moment that you blast this eldritch sort of force into the room, you can see that. Actually, just roll a perception check for me.
Yep. 7.
7. Something that is not illuminated by fairy fire currently reflects that light with like a very vibrant sort of luster. You're not sure what though. It was roughly about maybe 5 feet high, and on the opposite side of the room at the moment.
Okay.
So
Cool.
you cast your Eldritch Blast. Is there a bonus action or a like, do you want to move away or anything like this?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So that brings us to Syl. Syl, what do you do in this moment?
So we've got how many lit up by fairy fire?
Did you want to take a look into
Aside
the
from
room?
me? Yeah, I want to be looking at the room, yeah.
Cool. So you
into
look
the
in
room.
through the same window that Magnus was attacked, and barely stay out of the way of this Eldritch Blast that obliterates one of the creatures. And you can now see that there's 3 that are illuminated in the room. They all look relatively similar to the other. One of them is carrying another axe, and there is 2 of them that are carrying long swords.
Okay. And before, when we fought them earlier, they seemed resistant to piercing damage, didn't they? They didn't seem to like it.
You remember that they were resistant to piercing and slashing damage, so they aren't as affected by that as they are by, say, magical or bludgeoning damages.
Okay, I'm just considering that door's shut. I'm just chucking a dart at them anyway, so I'm just grabbing a dart out of my pocket and just sending it on.
Cool.
Just right through the window.
Nice. So you spot one of them that's beginning to approach, probably about maybe 10, 15 feet away from the window, and you throw this dart through at one of them that is covered by a fairy fire. Go ahead and roll an attack with advantage. It'll be a ranged weapon attack, so I think you'll be using Dex, unless you count it as like a monk weapon or something like that.
It's Dex either way for me. Everything's
cool.
Dex for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dex everywhere.
Nat 20.
Hey, that'll work. So go ahead and roll your damage twice and then add your ability modifier.
So the damage is... Oh, roll it twice, you say?
Yeah, so roll the dice 2 times and then
Yep.
add your bonuses.
The bonus just gets added once? Or to each
just
dice?
After both of the dice are rolled. So say you have
Sure.
a d6 as your attack, you'd roll 2
Yeah.
d6 and then add your modifier.
Gotcha. Oh, we're looking at 7.
7 total? That's not
Yeah,
too
7
bad.
total.
You see that as you throw the dart, you manage to sort of knock one of its shoulder, like pin it to just below its head, and it sort of buries through the ribs into the scapula and knocks off one of the arms of this creature that was actually was actually carrying the longsword that. It sort of pauses for a second and looks at its shoulder, noticing that it's dropped its arm. But it's taken quite a lot of damage. It looks pretty messed.
Nice. I'd also just like to back away from the window, just a step, just to be clear of it from immediate attack.
Nice.
About 5 feet back.
That's good news. Okay, comes around to Falcor. So Falcor, you're currently, I'd say maybe about 5-10 feet away from the door, and you can see that everyone's kind of focusing fire on one of these windows, and you can see the window on the opposite side as well. There is also glowing creatures through there. What would you like to do with your
I will use longbow
Okay, cool.
just to finish it off before we move.
So you're coming over to the side that Sill's on and attacking that same creature?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
cool.
want Davos to go in first if we go in. We need his
Nice.
bludgeoning.
Will do.
Perfect. So you come across and line up a shot. So go ahead and roll an attack roll for me.
Yo!
That'll be your d20 plus, I think, your proficiency, because I think you're proficient with longbows, and plus your dexterity modifier.
Okay, so 13 plus 3
Okay, cool.
for dex.
So
16.
that certainly hits. So go ahead and roll some damage.
Plus modifier?
Yeah, it'll have damage and modifier. So your hit die, and then I think your dexterity for this one, Chris.
Okay, so 3, 8.
So 8 total. Nice. So you see this creature just as it looks down at its
Yep.
At its sword arm that's fallen on the ground. You line up a shot with the head that is glowing, and put an arrow directly through it, and it just obliterates the skull, and this creature falls to the ground, still kind of just emanating like a small glow of fairy fire. And just sort of acts as a marker on the ground. But you can see that there are still 2 more inside that you can currently see, illuminated by fairy fire. So you've had your shot there, Falcor. Do you have like a bonus action or anything like that that you'd like to?
I'll just kind of steer, taking.
What?
Sorry, you kind of cut out there a little, Chris.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'll just take a few steps back and get around the corner of the wall of the window, just so I can't cop anything.
Yeah,
Any
cool.
retaliatory.
Nice. So yeah, you kind of stay out of the way, and move to the side of the window, but just on the stone side, out of view.
And I'll give a wink to Syl.
Nice.
I like that wink. I like the wink.
That's a nice.
I like to use my reaction to wink back.
Hey, you can totally use your reaction if you'd like to do
I
that.
don't, no, thanks, Alan.
No, that's as much as a free action as you'd like. So just go ahead. You wink back at him, and you see that he's rather impressed.
And then I wink again back at him.
And it's just kind of this Stooges moment where the camera's like flashing back and forth between the two of you winking, and you can just hear in the background these creatures kind of moving towards the windows. That brings us to Belle, and I believe I have Belle's character sheet right here, and what I'm going to do is have her cast a lovely little spell. It's gonna be
Defeat everything.
kill all the monsters.
It's a good spell.
Yeah, it's not bad actually. It works really well against dragons, and
It's a great cantrip.
yeah, I'm pretty surprised that it's so powerful. But you know, them's the breaks. You kind of get some pretty powerful stuff. There's a hand of what is it? Cold. Nope. It'd be much easier if I had a spell list in front of me. Shocking Grasp, that's the one. So she is going to go ahead and look through the window frame, standing from about as far back as she can, and she looks across, sees one of these creatures, and just goes ahead and sends a Shocking Grasp their way, which I just am checking the spell for. It's a spell attack, a ranged...
Shocking Grasp is melee, isn't it?
It is melee. I'm just looking at that.
Yeah.
She did have a ranged one, I thought. Okay, that changes what I'm doing.
Get that hand thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Isn't
thinking.
there like an
She can
Ice
stroke them
thing?
gently, yeah.
there's some kind of ice thing?
It's cool touch, maybe chill touch. I'm just gonna check that.
Yeah, she's used that before, yeah. She definitely
Yeah,
has.
it's slightly cool, but it doesn't do any damage.
It's a cool touch. It's really useful in arid environments.
Yes, or if you just need fresh breath.
Yeah. Great for first aids. Here we go. Chill touch. So it's a ranged spell attack, and that's going to be a 13 on the die, and her modifier would definitely cover that. So one of the creatures inside, you see this spectral hand that Belle creates, kind of muttering under her breath as she finishes casting this spell, and kind of reaches out, and there's a projection of this kind of almost ghostly hand that flies across the room, and actually does that'll be 4 necrotic damage to one of the creatures. As it kind of, you see like an area where the fairy fire had hit. Oh, she would have had advantage on that. Let's just see if it's, nope, worse. So she goes ahead and hits one of them. That's going to be a 4 damage lost to it. Okay, and at that point in time, it is the skeleton's turn.
Ooh.
Bring it on.
Boo indeed.
We can take them.
We can take them. Can yous though?
We can. We're hungry for spare ribs.
More spare ribs. Okay, so from the opposite side of the doorway, you can see that there is a sword that just sort of projects out, and this golden bony arm that is kind of flailing on the opposite side, just swinging back and forth. And you can see that there's a skull that is kind of pressing into the framework now and trying to it almost looks as though it's trying to peer around the doorway and see who's outside. You also see coming towards the window frame, there is a creature that has a longsword, and it's coming directly for the window. And I think the last person to attack through the window from a close range probably would have been Ko. And so this creature reaches the longsword through the window and is going to try.
I'm hiding under the windowsill though.
You didn't roll a stealth check, so
no, because I remember I healed Matt's when was trying to heal
yep,
him. I was
so
sitting under the windowsill.
you had crouched down, but you're not hidden currently at the moment because you're paying attention to trying to heal Matt. So you're kind of back turned to the window and trying to get your healer's kit out to strap Magnus's wounds up. You don't have to roll anything. What is going to happen is the longsword comes through the window and it's going to try and attack you. What's your armor class?
What? What's that? We didn't hear.
Belle, what is your armor class?
Belle?
Belle.
Sorry,
Ko.
Ko.
It's 13.
Yeah,
13. Okay, so they rolled a 14 on the die, so that's going to hit. You are going to take...
Better get that healer's kit out.
That's going to be 7 damage, slashing as the longsword kind of just comes through and slashes down your back as you're turned away from it. You're also kind of standing around, and from out of the darkness, at this point, you see an arrow flying through the air, and it is heading directly for Falcor. And that is going to be a 19 to hit. Falcor, what's your armor class?
It doesn't hit anyone.
We got about 8% of that.
Oh, sorry. Am I like lagging the shit?
Yeah, which is funny because Beck's fine.
She's totally fine.
Totally.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and minimize that. At this point, there's the arrow.
Oh man, the minimize made it worse.
Did it?
I don't know. I can hear.
Except for not moving or saying anything from that point.
Is he frozen again?
Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yes.
Yes,
we can.
Fantastic. What is your armor class, Falcor?
Crap, what do you mean the number? 14, yep.
14, so it will hit.
Wait, what's hitting who?
Oh,
I thought.
Okay.
I thought
What happened?
Ko was getting hit.
Yeah. So Ko was hit by a longsword, and at this point in time, you can see that an arrow comes out of the darkness, and is heading directly for Falcor. And there was a 17 on the die, and that translates to a 19 total. So you are hit by this arrow that comes sort of flying out of the window over the shoulder of the creature that's attacking. For a short bow, that's going to be a d6, and that's going to be 4 piercing damage as it kind of embeds in your shoulder just as you sort of lower your arm after taking the shot. And
Ow.
other than that, I think that's that's the end of their turn. Comes back around to the top and Ko.
Wait.
Yep.
Hang on. Me. What about Davos?
Why
He was
are
being
you
a
not
pussy
in-
earlier, so he misses.
Why are you not
Yeah.
in initiative order?
He was saying a prayer or something.
I did have a very
It's
low.
like, please
had
don't let me
7.
die this time,
I
please.
think.
Sorry, Davos
get it.
had 8, and in all
8.
right, should have gone before those skellies. But next round, I'll
Sons of bitches.
rectify
Let's just
that.
say I'm behind the skellies. No, let's just say I'm after them.
You're after. Okay, cool. So yes, so go ahead and make your turn. What would you like to do?
So there's an arm sticking out.
Yeah, you can see that this creature, like, really.
Smash
You can
it
see
with my hammer. I smash it really hard with my hammer.
Cool.
You stole
So
my turn.
go ahead, roll an attack for me, and let me know what you get.
Fif- 15 plus 4, 19.
19 definitely hits. So rain some damage down on that creature.
I did choose to use Divine Smite with it.
Okay.
So, first of all, I deal 10 plus.
Okay. So you've already called that you're using your Divine Smite. So go ahead and let me know what the damage is.
Getting the calculator out.
Another 9.
Ooh. Okay. So
19 vehicles. Go easy, buddy.
how do you want this to look, Davos, as you obliterate the creature?
It uses radiant damage, and because it's undead, it was an extra D8.
Yep.
So it works extra effectively on it, so it dies with like some kind of holy radiant energy.
Okay. So I'll let you know
That's sick.
you've pretty much channeled all of the light of Lathander that you can as a second level paladin, and as the hammer comes down, you hit the elbow joint and it kind of pops immediately, and as the radiant light kind of emanates from the blow, it just appears to vaporize the bones, and you see this creature kind of like reaching through and attempting to grab at you, but as it does, you see the bone just beginning to fade away as this light kind of emanates from the inside of the creature that you've struck, and it kind of just fades to dust as you move back from, you grab your hammer again and sort of hold it over your shoulder, waiting for the next opponent to come out the window frame.
Hi.
Hey, for you, there won't be another
What's
door.
up?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, nice, Nelly. That was gold. Good timing there, Gabby.
That was
Hey.
perfect, Gabby. Hello. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, good.
That's good. I just did
Yeah.
some damage for you.
Thanks. What did I do?
You used your chill touch
Chilly touch.
to go
Damn
ahead
straight I
and
did.
do some damage to that skelly. So
Cool.
at this point in time, to anyone watching on the stream, that voice that you can hear is Gabby, and she is playing our wizard Belle. And Belle, you find us in the middle of a battle. We are standing at
Oh,
the base
no.
of Lightwatch Tower, and a magical darkness infuses the room in front of you, and you are on the outside of the castle still, the structure still.
Okay.
You can see through the windows, and creatures similar to the ones that you attacked in the clearing are sort of trying to make their way through and attack anything that is at the window frames. The glass has been smashed out, and there's this wrought iron that is kind of stopping them from coming through en masse. You look around and you can see that Magnus has been struck by an axe at one point when he was looking into the room, trying to get an idea of what was going on inside. And everyone around you is unloading into the room, just trying to attack as many of these creatures as possible.
Sure. Can I just quickly ask before I start? So you've used 2 spells, so I've only got 1 spell slot left?
I have just used 1, so I think.
Alright, cool.
So you've got 2 spell slots at the moment.
Yay! Spells for everybody.
Everybody gets a spell. So
Great lag. Nice.
Alright, cool.
Am I still lagging?
Could be me, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like.
Chris can't hear anything at the moment. I've stolen his headphones so he can just see you guys like mouthing.
Perfect. Hi, Chris. Okay, so we get back to the top of the round, and Ko, it is your turn.
Are there any more skelly arms or anything peeking out the window?
You can see on the left-hand side of the doorway, there is one creature that is like reaching through and just almost gnawing at the wrought iron.
Whoa.
Yep.
Easy,
something's happening.
man. What was that?
I am a robot. The skeleton turns into a robot. No. So you can see on the left-hand side of the frame of the doorway, Ko. That's what you can see.
Well, because now I piss. I think Nellie's frozen. Just why? And
Oh no, yeah, I just everyone turned into a
Okay.
piano.
Oh, cool.
Going through time.
I think Nellie's high.
Yep.
Oh, it's happening again.
Okay, so Ko.
So the arm's out the window on the other side. So I heat up my blade.
Okay.
And my heater blade, and I slice through his arm. If I can.
So your fire genasi form, you cast your burning hands.
Because I'm pissed and my hair's flaming, my eyes are flaming. You don't hit me in.
You kind of walk slowly across the door frame, and there's this sort of eruption of like heat that throws your hair up into the air, and you draw this blade from your wrist that is now glowing red hot. Go ahead and make an attack, and let me know what. Oh, you'll have advantage. You'll have advantage, which as a rogue means that you will get your sneak attack because you have advantage. So go ahead and roll your damage and then add a sneak attack.
Well, I just got a nat 20, so that.
So that is going to be a lot of dice, and it is actually. So you're using a dagger, which is 1 die. The second die for that, and then how many sneak attack die do you have at the moment?
Just the 1 extra because I'm only level 2.
Yeah, but how many total? Is it 2d6 that you roll for sneak attack? Just 1?
Just the 1.
So you'd roll. So just roll your die and let me know what you get. So 2d4 and 2d6, and then add your dex modifier. Okay, so the creature dies quite expertly. You walk up and you see the wrought iron, and it's kind of gnawing on it. You just grab below where the jaw is, take the blade, and shove it straight through the creature's head. You see that as you do, the skull kind of like all of the gold peels back off the bone as it kind of bubbles and melts away. And the creature just kind of stops any kind of life force, and you see it just slug there now through the door frame, the window frame, just one arm out the window, and it drops this longsword on the ground. You've killed that one for sure. It is dead.
Can the other skellies in there tell I'm on a rampage now?
Just roll a perception check for me. 11. You have a look into the room, and it is pitch black.
Even with my fire eye.
Holy shit.
You have a look with your fire eyes, which don't really mean too much, but the elemental fire that is coming off of you kind of illuminates the creature in front of you, and then kind of gets eaten by the darkness that is behind.
I'm cool with that.
Thorax, comes up to your turn. You can see that Ko has just destroyed this creature, and as you're counting off what you can see, you remember that there were 4 creatures that you saw, and they all appear to have been killed.
I let my guard down.
Good.
And I will take this opportunity to predict the weather in our location for the next 24 hours.
Fantastic.
What a nice
so
guy.
you cast. What is the spell for this?
Druidcraft.
Druidcraft. Okay. So you know that by 24 hours from now, there may be some more cloud cover. There is going to be a very clear day in the morning. And as the sun rises, you'll see that there is haze across the top of the forest that surrounds here. But yeah, it looks like it'll actually be pretty reasonable weather for the next 24 hours.
Good to know.
Light jackets, guys. Light jackets.
Very nice.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
At this point,
That's me. I'm happy to do that.
Nice work. Yeah, you look around and you go, it's going to be lovely in the morning. It'll be beautiful. Magnus, that brings us to your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay, can I fire an Eldritch Blast at that artifact that my last blast illuminated?
Yeah, just you'll be at disadvantage because you're firing into magical darkness.
Yep.
And yeah, you can go ahead and try and attack. Just roll 2 die and then add the modifier to the lower one.
So that's
What's going on, guys?
Mart.
Matt said 11.
11? Math.
Yeah.
Okay, so 11. That you see the blast kind of fire through. Nothing appears to happen for about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20, 30 seconds. You're kind of just stuck there.
Ooh, 20.
Nothing really.
Can you say all that again?
Oh, sure. So you cast this Eldritch Blast, and it appears to. It sounds like it's hit the opposite side of the wall.
Okay.
Doesn't appear to have collided with anything.
Okay.
At this point,
I can speak, right?
You can speak, yeah, for sure.
Okay, there's some kind of artifact back there. I don't know for sure, but my hunch is that it's potentially what's producing this magical darkness.
Cool.
Very good, Sil. Okay, so at this point in time, guys, it kind of feels as though there's not anything happening. I'll just get a group perception check for me.
Nine.
15.
Natural 1.
Douglas is too
21.
impressed with himself currently.
21
6.
total.
21, 6, 9, 1.
15.
You see the
15.
thing explode from my hammer.
Belle, have you joined us on another line?
She's being on a. Just trying to sort out chat.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Whoa.
Can you hear me
Fantastic.
now?
Certainly.
Yeah.
I love
We'll have you both time.
Yay! Okay, so I've got a 10.
A 10. Okay. Yeah, it seems like everything's pretty quiet here. You can hear over the sound of sort of the wind rustling through the trees that are nearby. There's not really much else that you can pick up, and you feel as though for a moment there's kind of this brief, hi Gabby, this brief reprieve from battle.
Okay. Can I approach that artifact?
You would have to go inside to do so.
Mm,
I would
So
like
going
to
in-
really bang on the door, like really hard.
Okay, so at this point,
Like kick it, like whack.
yep. So Magnus, before much else happens, go ahead and roll a medicine check for me with advantage because you've got your healer's kit.
14.
14. Cool. So you managed to sort of strap the wound, make sure that it's not going to cause any
On
issue
Matt.
on Magnus, yeah, and it's not going to cause any issue there. And as
Sorry.
yeah,
Mending does not work for wounds, does it? It's only for like
inanimate
mending
objects. Yeah.
It's so bad. All right. I'm getting rid of that concept, everyone. Don't worry.
I don't need this no more. Okay, so you go ahead, do that. Sil, you walk up towards these double doors, and
Wait, just quickly. Can I cauterize my own back wound with my fire?
that's going to be a bit difficult, but go ahead and roll a medicine check with disadvantage because you're trying to cauterize yourself over your back.
Oh man, how much health do you have left? We could keep
Maybe I should just heal you.
3.
Yep. You go ahead and take the scorching blade, and as you reach it over your shoulder, it doesn't burn you, but you pierce it into your shoulder. You actually using this
I just say crap.
using this extremely sharp dagger, kind of scrape down your back a little, and you're going to go ahead and take 3 slashing damage as it kind of cuts down your shoulder.
I see that happening, and then I just go and heal her. How many points are you missing?
That's something you wouldn't
A
know.
lot.
That's something you wouldn't know. You can
Oh.
kind of look at her and get an assessment of how much damage she might have taken.
I'm missing at least half.
Oh, so I don't know how much people are missing, so I just...
You just kind
Oh.
of, someone might be injured. You could give them some lay on hands. They might feel better.
I lay on hands, I give them 5. I give her 5 hit points.
Okay, cool. So Co, add
Did
5 hit
I,
points to your max.
Did I get any HP back for my arm being stripped?
No, but it is no longer bleeding profusely. And
Well, that's good.
yeah, at this point in time, before anything else happens, Sil, you walk up to the door frame, and you can see
Yes.
these 2 heavy stone doors that are about 7 foot, 8 foot high.
Yeah, they're going down.
You
They're
remember
going
hearing
down.
you remember hearing that steel sound from the opposite side. But what's your intention? You're trying to bust them down?
I'm most partially that, but I'm mainly just really frustrated. Like, because I really just want it to be easy, and it's not easy.
You're just like, God damn it, we're not even inside the room yet.
Remember your monk training.
Yeah.
Remember your monk training, damn it.
Yeah, but I'm starting to lose it. My master, where is he? There's issues. You don't know about him yet.
He's got a really cool backstory, but you don't know about that yet. So go ahead. You bare fists, or are you using the staff, or are you?
I'm going for my foot. I'm going to kick
Cool.
that door.
Okay, so just make a strength check for me. You're going to go ahead and try and bust this door down.
That's a total of... wait, is it just strength? Just straight up strength? Maybe athletics, perhaps?
Go ahead and use an athletics check.
All right, it's 7.
7.
Total.
You kind of smack the door, and they move just barely. And again, you hear that clink, kind of the steel against stonework.
Well, the frustration's out. I'm good.
Just roll
Can-
roll an investigation check for me, Sil, as you kind of look at this door frame.
Okay, that's total of investigation is what? I think it's intelligence. So that's a total of 12.
12. You kind of bend down and look at the doors a little, and you're looking through, and the small amounts of light off of off of Magnus, that are sort of emanating here, you can see the smallest amount of reflection of what looks like a steel bar, roughly about yay thick, that is running. You can see just between the crack in the door at about maybe 3 feet high, there's a steel bar.
Interesting. This intrigues me. I'd like to point
Idea,
this
my
out to
character's
everyone.
stupid.
I'd like to point it out and be like, what the hell is that?
I'd also like to point out that that's probably why I couldn't open the door despite my advanced techniques.
Look, if we're going for the blunt hammer approach, can I just try and blast them open with an Eldritch Blast?
Sure.
I want to hit it with my hammer.
I want to magic it open.
I
do
think we
it at
need to
the
remove the
same
steel
time.
bar, guys. Can we remove the steel bar from here?
Hey,
Can I ask
yes.
how much would the bar weigh?
A bar that size across 2 large stone doors, about sort of 1.5 to 2 inches thick, you'd think it probably weighs 25 kilograms.
Okay.
Just roll a perception check for me, Belle. You're kind of standing here in the aftermath of what everyone is trying to get into the castle.
It's all good. 5.
Okay. It's dark outside. It's pretty
But
dark.
it will be sunny. It will be sunny.
Something about the dawn coming, right?
You're looking around, and all that you can see at the moment, Belle, as you look across the forest that kind of goes to the north of here, and the clearing that would be behind, you see that there's a bit of plant life that grows. Oh no! Gabs, are you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm still there.
Yep.
It's just that it's a bit confusing because I keep moving my phone around, and I
That's okay.
end up being on the side.
Cool.
Because
So you can see that down the left-hand side of the building, there's a little bit of plant life. Looks a bit interesting, as though it's kind of growing onto the stonework itself. Other than that, there's not really much else going on here. You can see that, like, the path.
Touch the door with a hammer.
Yeah,
You hit the door with the hammer. Davos, go ahead and roll an attack for me.
And
Wouldn't blast hit him as well?
That sounds dangerous.
we go for a door each.
So you're both trying to hit one of the doors.
See if I use Mage Hand because it can go through things, but it's too heavy. That's why I asked how heavy it was.
Yep,
Makes sense.
That does make sense. So, at this point, I believe Davos and Magnus, go ahead and roll an attack for me against each of the doors.
So an attack, not a strength check.
No, you'll be making an attack with your weapons.
Don't break him, guys.
9 plus 4, 13.
13?
13 also.
13 also. Cool. So at this point, you smack the door with the hammer, Davos, and you see like a small bit of like the stonework kind of chip away. And as you kind of hit the door, you also hear on the opposite one a resounding thud from the force that Magnus kind of cast out of his palms. Both of the doors kind of really shudder with a very large impact. They just go, but it appears that they're locked.
Well, this is very frustrating.
Guys, can I fit through one of the windows? Need I remind you that once I was legally blind?
Oh, that will help.
Yeah, can I fit through one of the windows? Does it look like I can?
You think that with a bit of time, kind of pulling back wires and bending them, perhaps taking a couple of weapons and maybe like prying and cutting through things. It looks like Ko maybe could melt some of the steel and move it aside a little. You think that you'd be here for about, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of an hour getting that done.
I have an idea. My
Davos know of
character's
any other way?
stupid. Should I do it, Luke?
Play your character, man. If you feel like your character is stupid,
Okay, I have no ideas.
you have no ideas. Roll an intelligence check for me.
6 minus 1.
You have no ideas.
Hmm.
At this point, a weird thing kind of occurs to you, Thorax. As you were looking at the weather, you noticed that your vision kind of like moves out to a more aerial view, and you can kind of see how the sun was shining on the building. And at this point in time, it was actually shining from the west. It looked as though it was late afternoon, and you saw a different side of the building than where you are currently. There was a door frame, and it doesn't look like what's in front of you.
Can I ask, is it all either stone or metal, or is it anything wooden?
At the moment, where you are, you can only see stone and metal.
Okay.
You do see that.
I've also asked if there's any other ways in.
I'm gonna say I tell the party at this point, hey guys, if I wasn't strong enough to break the door, I feel you guys won't be either. Let's try the other side.
Can I just get that again? When did you ask if there are other ways in, Sil?
When Davos looked like he had no idea, and when just before what's his face, before Thorax was like, he's like, huh, and an idea is coming to mind. He's about to say it. Like,
Okay.
are there other ways in?
Okay, so and you just go, are there other ways in? You can see that this plateau that you're on is probably there's maybe like a 10, 15 foot area that like surrounds the castle, and you have come directly at it from like the southwest, straight to the door and hack. And you could have a bit of a look around and see what else is about if you'd like.
At this point, yes, obviously yes.
Okay.
Wait, what are our options?
Yeah.
What did I miss? What are our options?
We're all splitting up.
You're just talking
For
about
life.
having a look to see the rest of the building. To your right, you can see the tower itself, and it looks as though it has the smallest windows possible up the sides of the building, but none of them seem to be accessible. And are you moving as a group or are you splitting up? I just want to double check.
As a group.
Cool.
Splitting up seems ill-advised.
That's fine.
I'm not a fan of splitting up, especially not in the dark.
Cool.
Can
So you can either, sorry Belle, I'll just say this. So you can either head to the right and move the whole way around the tower itself, or you can head to the left and move around this room. And you think that you should meet up on the opposite side, but you haven't seen what's on the other side of the hill yet. It's kind of like right or left.
Left.
The ranger
Man is right.
you see Falcor kind of look up, and he's looking back towards the forest, and he looks across to his left hand side and just begins walking.
Yeah. And we
Hey
left.
there.
What a dick.
I guess we're going left, guys.
So you all begin to move around the side of the building, and you can see likewise with the front side of the building on the left end, there's a wall that's about maybe 20 feet wide, and one large, what used to be, obviously, would have been quite an ornate piece of stained glass work. And Davos, you kind of see this, and it reminds you of a lot of the parables that you would have heard about when you were like sort of in church. There's like a story told across the glass itself, and as you pass, it's sad to see it in this state of entire disrepair. As you round the corner, you see the backside of this castle. You can see that there is a doorway that is in the rear of the chapel. It's small, and it looks like it's finely made. It sits in a deep recess in the wall, and is thoroughly coated in reddish-black vines, which climb up the other side of the chapel to the roof. The vines are as thick as a man's finger and have an arrow-shaped leaf with white markings in the center. They undulate in the light breeze and look as though they're beckoning you to come closer.
I go closer.
Can we do a nature
Who was
check
that?
to see
Who was
what's-
that?
Oh god, that was me.
Bell, you can certainly do a nature check to see if you realized what this is.
Can I sense whether or not that breeze is supernatural or a regular breeze?
Seems like a pretty regular breeze.
I go closer.
Cool.
Bit of methane gas in that breeze.
So
Oh,
I'll say
natural.
at this point when Bell begins to think about what this might be, Thorax, you're about maybe 10 feet from them at the moment, and you just begin walking towards them. So Bell, what did you roll for your... An 8? Okay.
Yeah.
You're not sure exactly what this is, but it looks as though it might be some kind of ivy.
I knew it.
Yeah.
All ivies are good.
Yeah, sure. So
Maybe ask
you're
the
not
botanist.
100% sure, but it doesn't look like a standard like ivy that would be, just give you a bit of a rash. There might be something else to it. You haven't seen this one that has like a white leaf down the center.
I get my axe out and slash at it to like cut them away.
Okay, cool. So you come up towards it and begin to make an attack. So you come a little bit closer. You're about 10 feet away from it, and as both you and Thorax step into like this area, you see that there's these flowers. As you get closer, you can see them. The petals open, and this almost like spore begins to get spread about by the winds.
Oh,
both
Jesus.
both you and Thorax, go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw.
Sorry, I missed all of that.
Oh dear.
Okay, Thorax, as you come closer towards the plants with Davos at your side, he's kind of brandishing an axe, and you both move into this area that's roughly 10 feet away. You see these flowers below a lot of the leaves that kind of begin to unfurl as you get close, and this pollen just gets spit out.
9 plus 2,
breeze.
11.
11? And Thorax?
Also 11.
Okay, so you both manage to kind of hold off, but it is extremely...
Also 11.
Nice. So it's extremely pleasant smell. It looks as though there is just this,
I only heard extremely.
it's a very pleasant smell. And as you kind of walk towards it, you kind of catch your senses for a moment and realize that there's something more.
Can we walk towards?
You just continue walking towards it? Yes?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
We walk towards it and then we're not sure.
You continue walking towards it. Okay. What I'm going to get to happen now is everyone roll initiative so we can figure out what we're doing. So I'll say that Thorax and Davos, you are both at the top of this order because you're already moving towards. Everyone else, let me know what your
9.
initiative is.
22 on Falco.
9 for Co.
6 for Bell.
6
19.
sorry, that was 2 coming through at once. Magnus?
19.
19. Sil?
17.
17. And then Davos and Thorax are already there. Okay, so at this point, Magnus, you see... Oh, no, sorry, Falcor. You see this plant in front of you, and the two... Davos with a very, sort of focused intent to kind of wreak some havoc on this vine that is growing across the back of the castle. What would you like to do?
Is that spore stuff meant to be hurting anyone?
It doesn't seem to be at the moment, and you you barely see it.
Okay. Gotcha. And this is blocking our way, the vines?
Yeah, it's kind of growing over the door at the moment. You can see it just kind of, you can see the top half of the door as the vine kind of wraps into the masonry and grows towards the roof.
Gotcha. Well, it seems a bit scary. We should probably cut it off, but maybe launch an arrow at it just to see if it's going to react at all.
Sure.
Can I do that?
Yeah, for sure. So go ahead and roll an attack and let me know what your modifier is.
10, 13.
13 hits.
Yep.
So roll some damage.
Damage. 4.
4. Very good. Okay. So like as you you aim for like an area near the door, and your arrow kind of severs one of the vines, and it kind of just falls limply to the side. Appears to not have changed too much, but it moves a bit of it out of the way. Just let me check one thing. Cool. So at this point, it comes to Magnus. Your turn.
Okay, so with this plant,
Yep.
because it's a plant that's kind of weird. Because through my patron, do I have like any Fey knowledge that would be useful here?
That's an interesting one. Go ahead, and what I'll have you do, yeah, make a nature check with advantage.
Okay. Yep. 16.
16. Okay, so this is what's known as itchy burn ivy. You know that it is immune to acid and can't be burnt away in that way, and it's resistant to fire. You know that there is likely to be some poison element to the plant, and that's probably about it. You know that it has this kind of intoxicating smell that can be used for various potions or various kind of poisons.
Okay, well, I relay that information to my party.
Yep.
And then, see, it's not a creature, is it? Because it's a plant.
It still counts, doesn't it?
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not necessarily a creature that's going to come and attack you, but it seems like it might be a bit of a nuisance if you were to, I don't know, succumb to some effects that it might have.
But I can't. It doesn't have any sort of intelligence. I can't affect its mind at all.
It does not have any form of intelligence. No.
Okay, cool. So many of my spells have to do with brains.
You know better than anyone that that's quite subjective in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna blast it. Fuck it.
Cool. So you prepare an Eldritch Blast and go ahead and roll an attack for me.
22.
Nice. That hits. Roll some damage.
Yeah, where is my... There he is. 5.
5 damage. Very nice. So you're slowly making your way away at it. And at this point in time, it comes around to Syl. It is your turn. What would you like to do?
It doesn't look like there's much use I can be. So,
throw a dart at it.
that's about all I can do. Yes, so instead, I'd actually like to just... Can I take a look at what's around us right now?
Yeah, sure. So roll a perception check for me, and you kind of look around across the hillside and everything as well.
We're looking at 11.
11. Let me just check something for a moment. With an 11, you start looking across like the entire area, and you can see that it looks like there might have been a path at one point that heads to the west from here, like from the rear of the castle, like at the bottom of the hill, you can see that there's a pathway. But as you kind of begin looking around from this location, you can see that in the forest to the sort of northwest, you see in the last of the in the light that the moon is providing, there's this rusted cauldron that sits over these charred stones and appears to have been sort of used recently. There's like a little bit of smoke that is coming from the pyre that would have been created.
How far away is this from us?
From where you are now, it's about 150, 120 feet, that kind of range.
But it didn't look like there was any people around there from what I could tell.
From what you can tell at the moment, it doesn't look like it. It just looks, there's this cauldron that is visible from that range, so it looks like it's quite large. You'd guess maybe 5 or 6 feet kind of wide, and about maybe a little smaller than that, sort of 4 feet wide, and about 4 feet tall. Yeah. But other than that, you kind of look around and you can see to the east there is the base of the Lightwatch Tower itself. Yeah, that's about what you can get from where you are at the moment with that roll.
So the light we at now then?
Sorry, I missed that.
So if we're at the Lightwatch Tower...
Yep.
Wait, we're at it right now, but then to the east we can also see part of the base of it?
Oh, sorry, just immediately to the east of where you are.
Yeah.
So like you can just, that is the base of the tower. You're kind of like clearing off this chapel that is kind of nearby.
So I guess I just point out with my staff at the cauldron and go, huh, there's a cauldron. What the hell? And then that's about it.
Cool. So it comes around to Thorax. It is your turn. What would you like to do?
Sorry, can I just confirm where I am in relation to the vines?
Yep. You are currently about 5 feet away, and you're walking towards it, and this smell is kind of like permeating your senses, and it's extremely, extremely nice. But there's almost like, I don't know, like as you breathe out, there's kind of like an acidic taste on your tongue. Nothing that harms you, but you feel like you were lucky to avoid the effects of this.
I really, really want to cast Entangle on it and just get my vines up in its business, but I won't because I'm responsible.
You prepare the spell and you look across at who's walking with you and you're just like, all right.
You win this round. Could I... Who's closest to me? Davos?
Davos. He's probably about 5 feet away.
I'm just going to cast a quick guidance on him.
Yep.
And just give him a D4 to the next ability check of his choice.
Cool.
And just kind of go, you're doing good. You're doing good. And I kind of give him an upwards pat on the bottom side of his bottom. So if you imagine a ball, I just kind of go, and I just, Yep,
perfect. And you hear the plate kind of like chunk the entire like arse plate. That's great. It comes around to your turn, Ko. What would you like to do? Bell, you'll be next.
Do I have a turn?
Am I?
You will next round. So you guys
Am
were
I
at the
close
top.
to the vines?
You'd be about 15 feet away at the moment.
I'll probably get close. What would happen if I burnt them?
You're not sure.
They're resilient to fire.
You're not sure what would happen if you burnt them. But so you're walking closer.
No, Matt said something.
Well, I'm gonna. Well, I have a 30 feet range, so I'm gonna walk there and.
So you're like within your 30-foot range at the moment, but you're about 15 feet away from the plants themselves. So are you going to go closer and then try and like burn them, or are you staying where you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just remember, I told you they're resilient to fire.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So you
Then
know they're
maybe
resistant
not.
to fire. It'd still do damage, but you.
I'll just start hacking at them.
Okay, so you walk in close, and as you walk in a bit closer, can you roll a Wisdom saving throw as you come into the area of this kind of spore cloud that's been created?
12.
12. You manage to stave off the effects of it, and you kind of get this almost caustic kind of acidic flavor in the back of your throat. The smell is extremely pleasant, but it doesn't seem like it's affecting you in any way, sort of poison-wise. So go ahead and make an attack as you get nice and close and start hacking at this thing.
With my dagger.
Yep.
So 23.
23 will hit the vine.
Can I use my sneak attack? No, I can't. So
You can't really sneak attack a plant. Aha! I got you, tree.
Oh no, I didn't see you.
So it's 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay, and you can probably strike with the offhand dagger as well because you're just like cutting away.
Do I need to roll to hit as well?
Sorry.
Do I need to roll to hit for the other dagger?
I'll say no. It's not too difficult to hit at this point in time. So just roll a d4 and let me know what the damage is.
Do I add my modifier as well, the +2?
No modifier. It's just your offhand.
Okay,
so you're just like
4.
hacking at it. Another 4? Okay, cool. So you guys get the idea at the moment that you could hack away at this, and it's probably going to take you a minute or so to kind of clear it out. Is anyone going to move up and help with this?
Yeah, I slash at it with my.
Cool. So you come in close and you see the spores kind of come out again as you hack at the vines, but it doesn't seem to like affect you. You appear to have sort of been able to be constituted enough to stave off the effects. So you're hacking at it. Go ahead and is anyone else going to come in and help out?
They're cool.
Cool.
Nah,
So you see
good.
Davos and Co predominantly for about the next 30-40 seconds just hacking at these vines, trying to rip them off of the stonework, and you see that slowly it begins to clear away and you see this door in front of you. At this point, you can see the door clearly, and it has been cleared for all intents and purposes. Perhaps you would like to open it. Is anyone else coming sort of closer at the moment? You've managed to clear the vines away.
Yes, I'd like to walk up.
Cool. So you all,
Are the spores gone?
Too.
you sort of are quite apprehensive to move forward, Magnus, and you kind of sniff the air. And you can smell that it's a little sweet still, but as you see everyone else walking forward quite fine, with no real issue, it seems as though the air has been cleared.
I hold my breath as I walk by just in case.
Fair. So yeah, you come forward, manage to hold your breath for a short amount of time. I think, weirdly enough, you can hold your breath for the amount of minutes, 1 minute plus an extra minute for every point of constitution your modifier is. So if your constitution modifier was 3, say, you could hold your breath for 4 minutes.
I can hold my breath for 2 minutes, but that's going to be fine to walk these
Cool.
few.
No problems.
Well,
guys
you were
all-
really right about this story being about doors.
Oh, it's all about doors. Doors.
Make
greatest-
yours.
the greatest enemy of any D&D player. And because you are in front, Davos, you see a door. It is in front of you. And as you move forwards, you are trying to open the door, and it appears to be a little stuck. It's not... Oh, just roll an investigation check for me.
Natural 20.
Fantastic. This is an old door. It doesn't seem like the door is actually barred or locked or anything like this. It's just stuck. So,
I know it's a door.
Cool. So if you'd like to go ahead and sort of barge it in, like using a strength check, or you can use a hammer. It doesn't look like it'd take too much to actually break the door open, or you can leave it as a functional door and trying to like shoulder it open.
Maybe you could knock.
I smashed it with my hammer.
Cool. So make an attack for me. Just use your damage. So what's the damage of your hammer?
Yeah, 16 plus 4.
16 plus 4.
Yeah.
So that'll be. Oh wait, just the damage. So you don't need to worry about sort of trying to hit the door. So what is your damage die for your hammer?
16. Oh, just the damage, so.
Yeah, sorry. You don't like a door is a pretty easy thing to hit with a hammer.
5 plus 4, 9.
9. Cool. So you manage to smack this door with the hammer, and it kind of splinters some of the timbers that are kind of uprights, and they crack and sort of the door buckles a little, and then just swings open. And you can see in front of you a similar room to the one that you were looking at previously. There is this darkness that kind of pervades the rest of the room. It looks identical to what you encountered at the front, but you notice that you're on the opposite side of this room.
I step in and cast Divine Sense.
Okay, cool. So you step into the darkness, and as you do, just blackness surrounds your vision. You can't see anything or feel anything. It is extremely disorienting. And you cast this Divine Smite to try and see what is around you. Yeah, exactly like that. Looks like this, except not red, just black. You cast Divine Smite, and you can see that there are 3 creatures in here. There are 2 skeletons.
Are they Mm-hmm.
That appear.
I don't know if they're skeletons. I just know if they're undead.
Oh, cool. All 3 of them are undead then.
I like.
And how far and where exactly are they in relation to me?
Okay, so you know that one is 10 feet, sort of diagonally in front of you to your right. There is another that is on the opposite side at where you'd assume the door is, so roughly 20 feet in front of you directly. And then there is one creature on the far right-hand side near the large window frame that you walked past. That is probably about maybe 20, 25 feet away from
you. I step back out because I can't see anything, and then I relay this information to everyone.
Okay. So you relay the information of the locations of these things to everyone. Belle, go ahead and roll an intelligence check for me. Just roll a d20 and add your intelligence modifier.
Hello.
Belle, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, I got 18.
18. You know that a source of magical light would dispel magical darkness.
Was there any desecrated objects in that 60 foot?
Yes, the entire inside of the church seems to be desecrated, but there was one object that seemed to be a gem, a large gem that was in the same location as the creature on the far right-hand side near the window frame.
I relay that information to everyone.
Cool. Okay, so Belle, you do know that if you were to cast a spell such as light or dancing lights or another cantrip that produces a magical light source, you would be able to see within this area.
All right, cool. I'm just going to quickly have a look to see what the things are for it.
Sure.
I also tell everybody to ready their weapons. because I know that they're evil and evil is bad.
Yep, sure.
So what was it called?
So a spell like light or dancing lights, I think both of them are cantrips. You'd be able to go ahead and dispel like the darkness if you were to move into the area.
Okay. So I'm just having a quick look to see if what die and stuff I will need.
Sure. You wouldn't necessarily need die to cast those
Ah,
cantrips. You just go ahead
So
and
you
cast them.
touch one object that is no larger than 10 feet in any dimension.
Yep.
Until the spell ends, the object sheds bright light in a 20-foot radius.
Cool.
And then dim light.
For another
Okay.
20 feet, I think. So you'd guess that if you were to move
Yeah.
into the room with that light source, you'd be able to see the area inside
Are there
of the
any
room.
more
Put on my
movement?
shield.
Alright, cool. Or you don't want to
Cool.
use your shield?
No, you
And
can
the
use it.
duration is 1 hour.
Cool. So you
But is
create.
it on the shield?
Yeah, you can
It
still
says
use a
that
shield.
It says I need a firefly or
I'd
more.
Say
say
spellcasting focus.
I'd say that as a wizard such as yourself, knowing these spells and the components that you need, you use your staff as a focus, don't you?
Yeah.
So as a focus, you don't need to use the components for it. So you would still be using the verbal, and I think it's verbal and somatic. So you'd be saying something and moving your hands around, in like sigils as you sort of draw across the area in front of you, and illuminate this shield. So
Sounds good.
yeah, so Davos, you are now a beacon of light. This white arcane light just begins radiating off of your shield in both directions. You can see that in front of you, if you hold it out in front of you, you see a large 20-foot radius is cast in front of you, and behind you as well, there is this 20 feet. As you look up, you look forward, and you can see that the inside of the church is now illuminated. You look forward and you can see that there's these 3 creatures that have begun walking towards the door. One of them wading towards the back a little. And you can see in the center of its forehead, there is a large topaz that has been embedded in the skull, and it is reflecting the light directly back at you. This creature is wearing some kind of armored like vestments, and as you look forward, you're horrified to see that there is a symbol of the Morning Lord hanging from around its neck.
What a fucker.
And at this point in time, I think we'll go ahead, finish our game for the week, and
Oh no!
we'll come back next time to go ahead and see what is inside of Lightwatch Tower.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
I cast Entangle.
Just throw some vines at it.
That's past everything now.
You literally pick
What a
up the vines
cliffhanger.
from the side and just throw them at it.
Cool.
Cool.
Leveling up.
No,
Everybody
you gotta
come back.
rest first.
Everybody come back at level 3 next week. I don't care about the rest thing. Let's not worry about it.
I love it.
If
I like
if
you.
anyone is watching this on Twitch, or if anyone is going to go ahead and go back and watch this on Twitch at any point, we play a pretty homebrew style game. So I like this book. It's a good book, but I don't like it to get in the way of telling a good story. And so where my characters can come through and have a bit of fun playing 3rd level, which any D&D fan understands is a good point in time where you get to pick your archetype and you get a whole heap of fun little facts and little skills. I'm just going to let them have it, so that we can come and do a nice little dungeon crawl. So please come back and join us in a fortnight's time. Hope that you're enjoying Secret Sects Dungeon. We had a couple of audio malfunctions last week, so hopefully they've kind of rectified themselves and we haven't got any issues this week. And hello there, Marley, the little mascot. She's a cute little puppy. But yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying it, and we'll see you in a fortnight's time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.